Chapter 8 is a fascinating chapter in the sense that it's a look into something that's done typically by specialists and very specialized people, in fact, and those are the ones that do market research. Marketing research or market research is, um, the topics that will be discussed in the chapter are universal to all kinds of research, but just understand that this is not a typical activity for most, you know, individuals that work in marketing. It's probably, to really do this well takes some real expertise. So keep that in mind as you read through it and consider it. But fascinating topic nonetheless. Okay, so screen testing. You thought show business was all about the art. In fact, it's all about making money. It's not show art, it's show business. They will test endings in front of test audiences to see which ones they like, and they'll use it because they're there to sell tickets, not make an artistic statement. Now, I know some of them will say they're making an artistic statement, but I think they'd rather get paid versus just make the statement. And so, there you go. Anyway, it happens all the time. So, marketing research questions asked at screening for movies that lead to specific actions. Action might change the ending, might change the title of the movie, give more clarity in certain parts of the movie. I mean, it's a means to an end. It's a vehicle to sell tickets. Just like TV shows are there to sell advertisements. You ever watch a late night talk show? People on those talk shows are there to hawk a book or something like that typically. They're not there, and it's scripted. Nothing happens on there that they don't know is going to happen by and large. They're not going off script. So, kind of keep that in mind as you watch those kind of things. It's interesting. So they'll track those things. Marketing research is done to reduce risk. Can't eliminate it, but it helps to make decisions. And there's a 5-step approach. Here it is. This is really everything in the whole chapter. The most important step is defining the problem. You define the problem. If you don't do that right, none of the rest of it's going to matter. This is not as simple as it may seem, however. Defining the problem clearly can take a lot of work, a lot of thought, and as you read through the chapter, I think you'll recognize that that's not as simple as it may seem. The rest of it becomes fairly mechanical, and you just want to make sure you follow the rules of good research in order to, not make a mess out of the investment you're making, because it takes time to do this and money. So problem definition, and this is where I'm going to spend my time, is clear, measurable, achievable, clear purpose, not we need to sell more. That's not a clear purpose. It has to be a means to an end. That's what we're after. Different types of research. Exploratory, we're just looking to see what's going on, kind of like exploratory surgery. We're trying to describe something, a market or conditions. Causal research, what we get independent variable, dependent variable. We're looking for, if I move the independent variable, what's it going to do to the dependent one? For example, if I advertise more, what does it do to sales, which would be the dependent variable? So I increase my advertising, what is that going to do? Measures of success. This is in regard to the little girls' toys, and what might help us design better toys, ones that they like better, play with longer, create more satisfaction. Develop the plan. We identify constraints, or those things could be time, could be money, could be access to data. What data is needed. And as we get to it, so these concept, different testing methods, data collection. There are primary and secondary data. Primary data is new to the world research. You're going out and asking the question. That's like a tailor-made suit. You go design it specifically for you. Secondary data is data that you can purchase that already exists. Kind of like an off-the-shelf suit. It may fit kind of, but you're going to get it's not going to be as tailored as primary data. As you might guess, the secondary data, much more readily available. You buy it, it's yours. Primary data, it's going to take longer and tends to be more expensive. Lots of variables in that regard. There we go. There's a good look at, primary, secondary data and its sources. Could be internal data. Sales data is very powerful. What's happened in the past, use that a lot. Some of it, secondary data, may be free, i.e. it comes from the government. American Marketing Association, another website that you should go look at and take a peek at what that is. AMA is really good. There's a lot of good stuff, and they help you understand your readings more. Syndicated panel scanner data, scanners, i.e. point of sale, and then home scan networks. You may have heard of AC Nielsen. They're a home scan thing. All becomes important. Portal and search engine, online marketing research has become very powerful and very popular because it's easy to track. This is what has made Facebook, Google, all their money, selling that data and selling advertisements. There you go. Everything has advantages, disadvantages. Evaluate and understand what those are and then make an informed choice. That's what business is all about. Observational methods are as many as you can think of. Program ratings, this is AC Nielsen. Duck Dynasty should be at the top. I'm sure you'll agree. Online, 10 internet brands for ratings. You know, there are like mystery shoppers. You go out and shop stores, whether they be competitors or your own, to get data, find out how your questions are handled, that kind of thing. You know, there's endless amounts of opportunity for research. Some of it's, you know, small businesses aren't going to go to this level. I mean, the more you do, the more you know, but you know, there are constraints, i.e. the biggest one being money and time and expertise, quite honestly. Questionnaires, they have to be worded correctly. Focus groups, I've participated in 3 or 4 of these. This is very interesting. Make sure you read through this. This is a pretty typical one, locally at least, and a lot of political parties use them, quite honestly. They'll focus group test certain words or phrases and reuse them endlessly. So you'll hear everybody from a certain candidate's campaign team use the same words because they focus group tested it. It's all about selling at that point. Other say array methods have pros and cons, and here they're laid out for you. So take time to read this. It's excellent, excellent graph. Collect the data, different kind of questions. This is where some real expertise in this is necessary. Different kind of questions, different purposes, different strengths, different weaknesses. Open-ended versus closed-end. You're going to get a lot more information out of this one than you are that one, but interpreting the data could be problematic. Excuse me, that one. There you go, different kind of questions. Typical problems, this is a worthwhile page to remember as well. Be careful using these, as you'll need to you know, read through them and look through them, and you can see where the mistakes are. So easy to make a mess out of this. Social media, like I mentioned before, is very key in getting marketing data now. Very key, because it's pretty much real time. Online panels, so on and so forth. Very powerful technology to gather that information. Develop the findings, present the findings. Your book gives some, you know, there's where graphs can be helpful to illustrate your points and so on. And there you go. So take care to read this carefully. This is a complex chapter. make note of those highlighted areas, read through it carefully, and stay on top of it.